Rollin. Oh, you're awake. You don't look so good. Didn't sleep well?
Sakti. It was pretty rough, especially with the guns going off.
Rollin. Well, it's either that or we might have to fight off monsters ourselves. The ship has automated defenses which fire at any monsters that come close. It's usually enough to keep any monsters from getting too close, but it is liberal with what it shoots at as far as proximity to the ship goes.
Sakti. You don't have a shield or something? I thought all ships had shields these days.
Rollin. The ship does generate a weak local shield, but it's only designed to stop fire from other ships. Most monsters can slip right through it. If I turn the automated defenses off, we'll probably have to fight throughout the night. You'll probably get even less sleep if we do that.
Sakti. I understand. It's fine, I'll manage.
Rollin. Do your best to get as much sleep as you can tonight, since we'll arrive at the Maelstrom tomorrow, probably late into the afternoon. I have a feeling we won't be getting much sleep then. Nobody's ever come back from the Maelstrom alive, so I have no idea what's in there, but I'd expect bad weather and lots of monsters. That is usually a safe bet for dangerous places.
Sakti. I can't imagine that's all there is to it.
Rollin. It could be. I wouldn't be surprised if the Maelstrom was being caused by just one or two extremely dangerous monsters who've made their nest there. Worst case scenario is it could also be an apex danger monster, the most dangerous classification. If one of those is lurking in the waters, it would explain why nobody has ever come back alive. I shouldn't need to say this, but just be prepared for anything.
Sakti. I'll be ready for tomorrow, well rested or not.
Rollin. Good to hear. So, how are you going to stay busy today?
Sakti. Between working on Ace and reading my books, I think I'll manage to pass the time well enough for now.
Rollin. That's good to hear. What are you reading?
Sakti. An old book about the elemental overlords, specifically Runen, the goddess of water.
Rollin. Huh. No kidding. Kind of an odd reading topic, don't you think?
Sakti. Oh yeah, I decided to keep the fact that this journey is supposedly to meet Runen a secret from Rollin. If I told him that I was going to meet a god at the center of the Maelstrom, he'd probably think I'm crazy. My friend was interested in the elemental overlords, it would seem, so I'm trying to learn more about them.
Rollin. I served Runen during the First War, you know.
Sakti. Really?
Rollin. Not in a very immediate capacity, mind you. The people from the town I was born in were contracted to raid any enemy ships we saw in the waters near our town. We got to keep whatever we wanted from the raids, so it was a pretty good deal. I was more or less on her side during the war.
Sakti. That's right, you did mention you fought in the First War.
Rollin. Only for about 200 years, but yeah.
Sakti. That must have been rough.
Rollin. Rough? I don't know about that. It wasn't all that bad, at least not for me. The fighting on my home planet wasn't very fierce, and the war came to an end not long into my adult years. At the end of the war, I, and the people from my hometown, came out of the ordeal richer people, so I have nothing bad to say about it really. Sure, maybe the people whose ships I raided would have a different story to tell, but hey, that's war, I suppose.
Sakti, that's a pretty selfish outlook.
Rollin. That's easy for an outsider to say in hindsight. Our mothers and fathers served Runen, and their mothers and fathers before them, and so on. It's not like we had much of a choice. For as long as the history of our little settlement could be recalled, we served Runen in some capacity. Heck, some of the more spiritual even said she created us. That said, we weren't fanatics trying to overtake the galaxy in her name or anything. We were hardly invested in her campaign, and you'd be hard-pressed to even call us our followers. We were just living the only way we knew how to. For all intents and purposes, she became our goddess because serving her was all there was to do, really. There were no alternatives. It's as simple as that.
Sakti, I see. It's just kind of strange to hear someone talk about war so positively.
Rollin, it's not like I don't think it was a bad thing overall. I'm not that cold. I'm just saying I got out of it alright. Yeah, I had to do some things that could probably be looked on and judged harshly, but you've got to live selfishly to survive. That's true of life, wartime or not. If you aren't taking from someone else is taking from you.
Sakti, I don't know about that. It just sounds like you're trying to justify your past actions.
Rollin, hey, listen. I'm just telling you about my experience with the war. I survived, and I'm here now. That's all there is to it. What you think about me doesn't really matter. I don't need to justify my actions to anyone.
Sakti, right, sorry.
Rollin, huh. So, back to what we were originally talking about. What does that book of yours say about Runin?
Sakti, oh, it speaks pretty highly of her. Well, it speaks highly of all the gods of old, but I think it makes Runin sound particularly majestic. It says Runin brought down rain to grow the budding universe in its infancy. She laid down the rivers, the seas, the lakes. Basically, her waters gave life to mortals.
Rollin, yep, that sounds like the stories they tell about Runin, alright. How nostalgic.
Sakti, did you ever meet Runin?
Rollin, ha, no way. The gods were mysterious to say the least. They always acted through intermediaries, avatars. They say each of the old gods had a very small inner circle who they met with face to face, but otherwise nobody ever saw them, at least none who lived to tell about it. Kinda makes you wonder if they even existed in the first place, to be honest.
Sakti, you don't think the gods were real? Just made up by people?
Rollin, no, I think they were real, but I have no reason to think so. Just a gut feeling. You know, when I was a boy, I used to dream about becoming one of Runin's inner circle, seeing her glory in person. What kind of person could rule over such a massive part of the universe and have earned the right to be called a god? She would have probably been more beautiful than anything I could ever imagine. Wouldn't that be something, meeting a god?
Sakti, it sounds like you admire her quite a bit.
Rollin, I just haven't heard her name in a long time. It brings back memories from long ago. Different times when people were more devoted to gods and goddesses.
Sakti, what happened?
Rollin, the war ended. That's what happened.
Sakti, what does that have to do with why people would be devoted to the gods?
Rollin, everything. Kid, don't you know? The war ended because the gods disappeared. Nobody really knows what happened to them. The story goes they just left this plane of existence and took their fighting to another realm entirely. Whatever the reason, once the gods were gone, there was no reason to follow them, even less of a reason to continue fighting. At least not until people could come up with new things to fight over.
Sakti, were the gods that important to the war?
Rollin, of course. The first war was also known as the War of Control. The whole point of the war was the 15 elemental overlords were fighting for complete control of the universe. It might be difficult to comprehend, but in the days of the war, you were a follower of one god or another, whether you liked it or not. Usually it just came down to which of the gods' territories you were born into. That usually determined who you followed.
Sakti, it's kind of hard to believe that everyone just stopped believing in gods as soon as the war ended.
Rollin, why anyone would follow a god who has abandoned this realm is beyond me. You'd be surprised how fast it all fell apart once word spread that the gods had disappeared. Even still, it's not like nobody worships the elemental overlords anymore, but you'll be hard-pressed to find them in everyday life. The only people who devote themselves to gods these days are hardcore zealots, or people whose entire lives were built around the gods before they disappeared. Basically, people who can't let go of the past.
Sakti, so you don't think the elemental overlords are still here?
Rollin, why would they still be here? I think people would have noticed by now if the gods were still around.
Sakti has no reply. Sakti, have the elemental overlords really left? Doesn't that mean this whole journey is pointless? Will Runin even be at the maelstrom like the fortune teller said she would be?
Rollin, what's the matter, kid? You look troubled.
Sakti, oh, it's nothing.
Rollin, if you say so. Well, it was nice talking, but I'm gonna head back to the bridge. What about you?
Sakti, I'm gonna go grab a bite to eat and then go back down to the cargo hold and work on Ace for a while. I think it'd be nice if we could have it operational for when we reach the maelstrom.
Rollin, okay. You know where to find me if you need anything.
Sakti returned into the ship and stopped by the mess hall to grab a quick meal. The Dulce weren't around to serve anything. They probably would have if she asked, but considering the food they served last time, she was probably better off fending for herself when she could. After she ate, she went down to the cargo hold. Ace and her mess were exactly as she left them. Sakti began her work on Ace, and let that occupy her time for a few hours. After a few hours passed, Sakti realized she made no tangible progress from where she left off yesterday, at least as far as she could tell. Her tinkering stopped being fun and started becoming frustrating. Sakti, maybe I bit off more than I can chew here. I think I just need to step away, take a break for a while, and come back with a clear head. Turns out this is harder than I thought it would be. Sorry, Ace, but it looks like you have to wait a bit longer. Now, what to do? I think it'd be best if I got away from this mess and spent some time elsewhere for now. Maybe I should go see if Rollin needs any help. I get the feeling he'll just tell me he doesn't need anything though. Perhaps the Dulce will be more open to my assistance. What should I do to pass the time? I'll go see if the Dulce need any help. Sakti left the cargo hold and went to look for the Dulce. Sakti found Ben meandering the hall just outside of her room. Ben did not seem to notice her and continued its aimless patrol throughout the hall. Sakti, what in the world is Ben doing? It looks lost. I suppose asking it would probably be pointless though. It can't even speak human language. Still, I suppose there's no harm in trying. Sakti approached Ben, aware her attempt to speak to it might be a pointless endeavor. Sakti, hey Ben, how's it going? Did you need something? It looks like you're waiting outside of my room. Ben jolted around and fixed its attention upon Sakti. Ben speaks in an unintelligible language. Sakti, I have no idea what you're saying. You can understand what I'm saying, right? How about you nod your head for yes and shake your head for no? Ben neither moved its head nor gestured in any way that it would indicate that it understood. Sakti, there has to be some way we can communicate. I mean, you understand Rollin's orders, right? So you should be able to understand what I'm trying to say too. Ben goes into a long diatribe of unintelligible language. Ben went on for at least a few minutes. Even when Sakti tried to interrupt, Ben kept going and raised its voice to speak over her. When Ben finally stopped, Sakti let out a sigh. Sakti, Ben, I have no idea what you're trying to tell me. The two stood in silence. Ben speaks again in an unintelligible language. Ben pointed to itself and then to Sakti. Sakti, that's a first. Me? Is that what you're trying to say? I'm going to need more than that. Ben did not give any sort of indication that her interpretation of its gesture was correct. Sakti, sorry Ben, but I still don't understand. Maybe we should go get Cal so it can translate for us. Ben reached out towards Sakti and grabbed hold of her arm. Sakti, ah! Sakti tried to pull her arm away, but could not break free from Ben's hold. Ben began to pull her through the ship's halls.
Sakti could hear Ben's processor acting up from inside its head. It sounded like an industrial fan on full blast. Sakti, it must be processing a lot of information. Perhaps something is wrong with it? Ben pulled her along through the hull of the ship. It did not seem malicious, at least not yet. Just as Ben was about to turn the corner which led toward the stairs, Cal emerged from the opposite end of the hall and sprinted toward Ben. Ben paused for a few seconds before it pulled back and was about to go the opposite direction of Cal. Its momentary hesitation allowed Cal time to overtake Ben before it could act. Cal thrust its fingers into the back of Ben's neck, which sent a jolt throughout Ben's body and caused it to go limp. Sakti yanked her arm free and stumbled away. Ben's body made a loud metal thud against the floor. A wisp of smoke slithered out from the inside of Ben's head and lingered in the air. Cal,
Sincerest apologies, Sakti. Are you alright?
Sakti, yeah, I'm fine. Ben just started pulling me through the hull of the ship all of a sudden. It was a little surprising, that's all. What in the world was that even about? Cal,
This unit has a connection to Unit Ben to share information over a local network. Unit Ben's status indicates that Unit Ben's processor underwent a malfunction.
Sakti, a malfunction? What kind of malfunction? Cal,
Unknown.
Sakti, you didn't have to knock Ben out, you know. It's not like he was trying to throw me overboard. I think he was just trying to show me something. Cal,
Negative. Dulce malfunctions can be unpredictable. To allow a severely malfunctioning Dulce to operate would be unwise. The safest course of action is to temporarily disable the unit and initiate a hard reboot. This should resolve any sudden, abnormal malfunctions. What Unit Ben said or did is ultimately irrelevant. It was clearly an erroneous set of operations on Unit Ben's part. This unit shall ensure Unit Ben does not interact with you in such an inappropriate manner again. You need not be concerned of this happening again. This unit will remove Unit Ben from here and place it back into the charging station to reboot.
Sakti, alright, I'll come with you. Cal carried Ben to the deck below and plugged Ben into a charging compartment, a hollowed-out section of the wall for the Dulce to remain when inactive. Sakti, what do you think caused Ben to malfunction?
Cal, Unknown. This malfunction displays a critical lapse in judgment in conflict with already defined orders.
Sakti, I wonder what could have caused it. What about you? Are you okay?
Cal, Affirmative. This unit is functioning at optimal capacity. Sakti, did Unit Ben approach and apprehend you without warning?
Sakti, no, I was walking through the ship when I saw Ben wandering around outside of my room. I thought to ask it what it was doing. I tried to talk to it for a bit. That's when it seemed like it was trying to tell me something. Then it grabbed me.
Cal, this unit has made note of this occurrence.
Sakti, does that tell you anything? Cal,
Negative. This unit keeps track of any and all of Unit Ben's malfunctions. Any insight into the incident may provide this unit with information how to prevent similar malfunctions in the future.
Sakti, has this happened before?
Cal, Affirmative. Clarification. Not lapses in judgment of this magnitude, but similar in logical inconsistency. They are rare and infrequent.
Sakti, I see. I guess we can't do much if we don't know what caused the issue. Do you think it could have just been processor degradation? I remember reading that it can cause problems with logic paths.
Cal, Possible. Unknown. Again, this unit is not configured for such repairs, so this unit has minimal input into such matters.
Sakti, yeah, I know. I guess I was just thinking out loud. Cal,
Sakti, do you require any further assistance? Otherwise, this unit shall take leave now.
Sakti, well, actually, I was going to ask if you needed any help with any of your duties. That is why I was originally looking for you or Ben. You see, I'm taking a break from my repairs, and, to be honest, I could use a distraction.
Cal. While this unit does not necessarily require assistance, if you are still looking for a distraction, this unit can provide you with a share of this unit's chores.
Sakti, what kind of chores?
Cal. This unit was in the middle of reorganizing the weapon storage. This unit computes it to be prudent to ensure all our equipment is in working order for when we reach our destination.
Sakti, oh, that's a good idea. I'd be happy to help. Just lead the way.